got the fire flow. Shorty getting down, going up the fire pole. Radical, intermittent where we mad cold. I got the bullfrog flow, you a tadpole. Feel the love, feel the rush, feel the buzz, let it brush up.
Welcome to someone's favorite movie. I'm coming to you from the Podjack outside beautiful Bay City, Michigan, USA. My name is Randy, and with me is that cherubic man who will whisper sweet nothings into your ear until the break of early dawn. It's that romantic bastard known as Tomko. What's up, sir?
Hold on. I just gotta wipe this blood away from my nose.
Are you wearing a Cupid mask right now?
Shit, is my camera on my... Shit, hold on.
Oh, my God. Do you have an immense amount of free time in which to construct elaborate arts and crafts projects to send in advance of your brutal murders?
Dude, it's the world of COVID. I have nothing but time.
Oh, my God. See what you've done to this Tomko society, world, pandemic. You've turned him into a Cupid's killer, man. Ugh.
I'm just saying, Denise Richards should have danced with me.
I mean, there's a lot of guys in the history of grade school that probably is saying the same thing.
Legion. We are legion, sir.
Yep. Man, if only Denise Richards would have danced with me. I mean, not so much these days, but like back then.
Yeah?
Hey,
yeah, I'd
girl,
have cut a rug.
Woof. That was an innuendo I wasn't prepared for. So many double meanings there. I am blushing, in fact.
Oh my God, I got Randy to blush in the first 5 minutes.
That's
got to be a record.
It's got to be a record, right? Today we're covering a 2001 slasher classic in air quotes, of course, a movie that is as dated as a tramp stamp that one of the main characters has. It's called Valentine, and, it's a stereotypical thing to do around these times of the year. You either do Valentine or you do My Bloody Valentine. We did My Bloody Valentine last year. Check it out in the archives. Man, I wish.
And I'm going to get this out of the way. That was a way better movie.
Yeah, I don't think that's a huge spoiler at all.
I'll be honest with you. I finished watching this maybe an hour and 5 minutes ago, and I'm scratching my head trying to remember a goddamn thing about it.
That's the hallmark of a great movie.
It is.
Fun that's so dumb you can't even remember it 20 minutes out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like the cinematic version of getting down to the bottom of the page and not knowing what the hell you read.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a Tootsie Roll. Bunch of empty calories. I mean, it's got to accumulate somewhere, but you're not sure where, and you don't even remember how it's going to help you. But God damn it was tasty at the time, maybe? It seemed like a good idea at the time. But then midway through, you realize you don't like Tootsie Rolls. They're way too hard to chew. And then they take a gum-like consistency and kind of it takes too long to chew. Why did you eat this Tootsie Roll? Why did you even put it in your mouth? Why was it even a good idea?
Randy, I got to say that your Ballad of the Tootsie Roll is way more entertaining than this movie.
Damn. I will say I saw this when I was a hot young man of the age of 20 back in 2001, and I did not care for it. However, I kind of cared for it a little bit more these days. I found myself thinking it wasn't as bad as I remembered. Does that make me a horrible person?
No, I think you're just looking at a bad movie with rose-tinted glasses.
Hell yeah. I was wearing that Cupid mask.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, things are really, really clear when you wear a Cupid mask like that. You're like, holy crap, look at this world. There's a bunch of girls that would never dance with me back in grade school. I need to get revenge against them.
Especially against the one girl who did dance with me and immediately made out under the bleachers.
I mean, that's the girl you need to save, right? She's the one that gave you the attention.
Yeah, but then she immediately accused you of assaulting her. Again, double-edged sword.
And I guess that his Carrie moment wasn't as bad as Carrie's Carrie moment. He only got punched dropped on top of him. Then got his ass beat.
Well, he got, stripped and got the shit knocked out of him, then had to go to reform school, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, not as bad, but it's up there.
Do you ever have a girl not dance with you at grade school?
Hell, my wife won't dance with me when we go to weddings. I'm married to her.
I saw your wife dance at one Tommy Thompson's wedding, and man, speaking of cutting a rug, she was getting down on it.
She was, but not with me.
No, not at all. You cramping her style. You kidding me?
Ugh.
Mrs.
I have no game.
Yeah.
And this is why Denise Richards wouldn't dance with me.
This is why right here. Jesus. I remember in grade school, there used to be skating parties all the time. And there was the dreaded part of the night where it was couples skate. So on one side of the rink, the boys would line up. On the other side of the rink, the girls would line up. And since you're like 10, 11, 12, you're secretly hoping that none of the girls pick you, and yet you're secretly hoping that all of the girls pick you. And it's really awkward because you're like, no, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. I hope that girl picks me. I hope she picks me. And then if she skates even near, you start to panic and be like, no, no, go the other way. Go. Oh, no, don't pick me. I mean, one time on the couples skate, this girl named Loretta skated over to me, and she was not one of the popular kids in school, and I didn't think she was a cute girl, and she skated up to me to, take me on the couple skate, and I said, oh, no, please don't. I actually told her no, I didn't want to. And now...
Oh, Randy.
Right? I was a big jerk, man, and now I think she might be out there taking vengeance upon all the people just because I didn't skate with her.
You kind of got that coming to you, Randy.
I'm sorry.
Florida was a sweet young girl.
Yeah. I'm sorry, society, that I unleashed a mad vigilante upon the world, but, you got...
You got to sow them wild oats. Loretta didn't, she's not pinning you down at that age.
I guess I had to grow up at the age of 10. I guess that's what it means. I had to mature. We all have to go through growing phases.
Well, you do.
I forgot what a mature macho man we have on this podcast. Tell me all about love, Tom.
No. I'm saying I still have not.
Oh, okay. That's right. You point that finger squarely at yourself, sir.
Exactly. For every pointing finger I have pointing at you, I got 4 more pointing right back at me, sir.
This is our Valentine special, and I don't know, we're covering Valentine, so you're welcome, all the folks. We do have a segment on this pod called, What Are You Watching? You been watching anything lately, Mr. Tomko?
Yes, I just finished up the latest adaptation of Stephen King's The Stand.
Did you really?
Yes, and it was a mixed bag.
Okay.
The first couple episodes, I really did not like the pacing at all because they kept going back and forth between a post-plague world and flashing back to the start of the plague, and it just threw everything off. I keep hoping that somebody with more talent on a computer than I have will one day do a proper edit of this thing. But after a couple episodes, when it kind of started to find its stride, for lack of a better term, I ended up really enjoying it.
Excellent. For all the people that are interested in Stephen King and The Stand, myself and Nick, the former Epic Film guy, now on Mr. Nikolai's Kitchen, covered The Stand, the original 1994 miniseries, of which we are both huge fans. And before that, we recorded that episode, I went back and I read The Stand by Stephen King, and it is one of my favorite things. So I'm very eager to watch the new adaptation. I did hear there was going to be like a new epilogue that Stephen King wrote. Is that true? Does it go beyond The Stand?
I have never read The Stand.
Okay.
In terms of full disclosure. but it went significantly further than the 94 miniseries did, and it was indeed written by Stephen King.
Okay. Because in the book, there's after the whole event in Las Vegas, it cuts ahead to some island nation, and Randall Flagg just kind of appears there, and the natives there start to worship him. And that's kind of how the uncut extended edition of The Stand ended the book. Because there was a couple versions of it, but I think the definitive edition that Stephen King wanted out in the world, that's how it ended.
Mm-hmm.
Basically saying that evil never dies, I guess.
Well, then he's got to set up the Gunslinger Dark Tower series somehow.
Oh, God, that's a good point, too, yeah.
But no, like I said, once it got past that almost schizophrenic pace that was in the first couple episodes, I really, really enjoyed it.
Okay, that's good. I definitely want to see it at some point.
Definitely worth the 8 hours, sir.
Speaking of 8 hours, all 8 hours of the Snyder Cut of Justice League is coming out in a couple days. You ready for it?
I thought it was coming out the middle of next month, but they were getting ready to drop a trailer on Sunday.
Oh, I thought it was coming out Valentine's Day, the whole thing.
No, the trailer was coming out. Let me double check, but I'm positive.
Okay, I might be wrong. I just, whenever anything to do with that movie comes out, there's a piranha-like frenzy on Twitter, and everyone gets all fanboyish and excited. And I'm not that level. I don't care that much, but I do want to see it. So
I hope it's everything that the Zealots hope it was. You know?
I do too.
Just because it's one of those situations where if after all this it comes out and it's just an absolute piece of shit, you know, the part of me that enjoys Schadenfreude will enjoy it, but by and large, I hope that the other people are happy with it. I do.
Yeah.
And according to this, the official release date is March 18th.
Damn it. I'm so completely wrong. I was telling my girlfriend to get ready because we're watching 5 hours of the Justice League, and now I have to apologize and be like, oh no, I know you were super eager, but she wasn't.
Only one more month, baby.
Yeah. You just stick with me one more month and I'll show you the world.
Now, did you see the images that he released of Jared Leto as the Joker?
I did, yeah.
I gotta admit, that looks better than anything that was in the released version of Suicide Squad.
100%.
But I fucking hated that movie, so that's not a high bar to jump over.
That version of the Joker was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. All of the images I've seen from that movie, the Snyder Cut, look really cool. But
yeah, but is it going to be all sizzle and no steak?
Exactly.
That's my big question.
Yeah, cool images does not make a good story at all. Ask anyone in the anyone that's read a Rob Liefeld comic book. Am I right?
Exactly. Yes. And I'll go on the record as saying that, you know what, I really, really enjoyed large portions of Batman v Superman. I think that a lot of it was just, I think he had some interesting ideas, if not great execution of it. But after everything that has been going on with DC films, I'm a lot more eager for them to just do the approach of not necessarily having to connect everything.
Yeah, there's large portions of Batman v Superman that are really great. There's large portions that don't quite work. I will say nobody gave one single fuck about Wonder Woman before that movie, but I mean, let's face it, she ruled in that movie, and people were excited to see more Wonder Woman. Ben Affleck as Batman, I mean, he
shocked the hell out of me.
Yep, a great Batman. I don't care what you want to say about, oh, Batman doesn't kill. Well, maybe not. He doesn't kill people, I guess. Okay, cool. However, that version of Batman is the Batman that everyone probably always thought of when they read the comics, I would dare say. It certainly wasn't Michael Keaton.
No, no. No, I think that there's a lot of stuff in that movie that is misunderstood, and I think a lot of it has to do with the execution of the story. My biggest problem with all of this is just the zealots who were spouting conspiracy theories about, the critics have been bribed and, everybody's out to get Zack Snyder. And it's like, no, come on, it's just a movie.
Yeah, critics don't care that much. Oh, I was going to say, and the movie had the right outcome. Batman beat Superman, which is always the way it should have been.
Yep. So, what else have you been watching, sir?
What have I been watching? I watched a movie called Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken.
That sounds really familiar.
It was a movie my girlfriend had watched when she was a child, and I got it for her for Christmas, and we sat down with her children and we watched it. It's a Disney movie from the early 90s. It's about a diving horse.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yes, a fucking horse jumps off the high dive and into a deep lake, and it's a sideshow attraction, and this girl trains her heart out to get into this position, and then during one of the jumps, something goes horribly wrong, and the horse gets startled, and the jump is foiled a little bit, and the horse and her land awkwardly into the water from a very great height, and she's got sort of concussion-like symptoms. However, she never really reports them. Kind of pushes them on pushes it off because the show must go on. Well, the fact that she didn't do that causes her to have permanent blindness, and so the rest of the movie is her trying to ride a diving horse whilst blind.
Was it any good, or?
It was a lot better than I expected. I'll be honest. I didn't expect much from this. I mean, the premise alone, you're like, oh my God. But it was pretty decent.
I don't know why, but I know the diving horse acts. I haven't thought about them in years, but for whatever reason, when you said diving horse, I'm just picturing a horse with a scuba mask and flippers.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah.
That would be a movie I'd watch.
Yeah, that'd be pretty great. I don't know. The girls ate it up, though, so, I mean, Disney knew what they were doing even back then.
Hey, you know what? Well played, sir.
Yeah. It's a movie right up this show's alley, too, because it's very hard to find. It's not on streaming or anything. I had to buy a DVD off Amazon. But I guess it was well worth it,
Exactly. You provided an entertaining night for the whole family.
Who can ask for anything more? I mean, how does that become someone's life's passion? I need to ride this horse, and I need that horse to dive off this humongous diving board so far in the air into this little body of water. And I hope they dug that body of water deep enough, because this is a big fat horse, and we're coming from a great height. So
more importantly, how the hell do you teach a horse to do that?
Basically, according to the movie, you kind of startle it, and it kind of runs up the ramp, and I don't know, doesn't really know what it's doing.
So basically, you train it with fear.
Yeah, I think that's probably the circus way to do it. I think all of circus is based in fear, right? You ever seen a clown? My God.
They've made entire movies about killer clowns, so...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They made an entire movie about David Boreanaz, so there we go.
Yeah.
This is a movie called Valentine. That's what we're covering. It's based on Tom Savage's 1996 book called Valentine, a novel.
It blew my mind when I found out that this was based on the book.
However, the producer, Dylan Sellers, pretty much only bought the rights to the movie for the title. Yeah, he saw the title and said, I don't want to make that story. I want to make something else. And I'm like, really? You can just I don't know, write a story called Valentine and some movie studio will buy it so they can call their movie Valentine? Like, are we able to copyright Valentine? In which case, I'm copywriting Easter right now. Your move, Hollywood.
Oh, I'm just picturing. Okay, Killer Bunny, who has human feet on his keychain. Write that
Ooh,
script.
I like that. I will write that script. I'll start tonight. I've got nothing else to do. I'll call it Night of the Lepus 2.
Oh,
Yeah. Tomko, I've been thinking, do you think we can buy the rights to Night of the Lepus? They can't be very much, right?
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I can find enough money in the couch cushions.
I mean, I need a whole franchise based on Night of the Lepus. This is what I'm visualizing merchandise. I mean,
Dawn of the Lepus.
oh yes, I love it.
Come on,
Lepus.
we need to do this.
Lepus versus Godzilla.
Oh, you know what? I think I would like to see a couple thousand little bunny rabbits going up against Godzilla.
That'd be so great.
Damn it! Now, why can't we review that movie instead?
No, that movie needs to exist. I mean, now I'm thinking, I'm like, Godzilla versus Sharknado? Holy shit.
Damn it! That sounds like a moneymaker.
Who would win in a fight? Godzilla versus a swirling wind of pesky, biting sharks. Ugh.
Do the sharks have chainsaws?
They have to.
Yeah, I'm going with the sharks.
Okay. Now I'm thinking of Ash versus Godzilla because you mentioned chainsaws.
Oh, Ash, come on. It's not
Okay.
even a fair fight.
All right. This is where I'm at because I don't want to talk about this movie a whole lot.
Yeah, we are dragging our asses toward a review.
A little bit.
I there's a lot going on in this movie, and none of it's interesting. Absolutely none of it. I'll give it a small, tiny sliver of credit. Some of the kills were interesting.
Yeah. I agree with that. The kills are pretty inspired.
He killed the ever-living fuck out of Denise Richards.
Yes. I mean, yeah. Denise Richards was playing her usual role in this era.
Denise Richards.
Yeah. She was playing Denise Richards. Sexy and slutty and here's some skin. That was what she was cast for. Yeah, that's what she was cast for in this era, and she delivered.
Like I said, I'm struggling to remember. I can't remember any of the characters' names. I can't remember most of their motivations. This is a movie that is just vapid. It is dated to 2001 in the worst possible ways. Everybody looks like they stepped out of an Abercrombie catalog.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, there is nobody in there who doesn't look anything less than perfect. Mm-hmm. All the guys have wash-borrowed abs. All the ladies have legs that won't end, and they're all blonde.
Except for Denise Richards.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, okay.
But she's a
I'm pretty
slut.
Sure blonde highlights in there.
Yeah.
The problem is that it spent a lot of time setting up things that I just wasn't interested in. You know?
It's a really weird movie because it takes an 80s premise of this guy, when he was a kid, was scorned by a bunch of girls, and that just ruins him for life. Like, he can't even deal with life anymore. So years later, he needs to take out revenge on everybody because of that. Because he doesn't know how to deal. That's a very 80s slasher premise.
It is, but that was also, you know, what, 5 years, 4.5, 5 years after Scream, which after they completely deconstructed the slasher genre, or at least the 80s version of the slasher genre.
Yeah.
This movie just feels like a regression as a result.
Oh, 100%. Like, that era of slasher movie is pretty, well, you used the word earlier, vapid. It's really bad. The 2000 to 2010 era of slasher movies are awful. And a lot of times they would do exactly what you said. They would take what we would consider CW teens and hot kids and put them in these movies, and there would be no rhyme or reason to the plot. And really, there was no reason to give attention to the plot. It was like, hey, look at this pretty person, look at that pretty person, and look at these kills, which admittedly is a great part of a slasher movie. But you have
and again, the kills, at least a handful of them, are impressive. The movie, I'm trying to think of positive things to say. It looks good. It was well shot, but I would much rather watch a movie like Sleepaway Camp, which by comparison looks like shit, because it knew what it was. It wasn't trying to be clever about itself. And it had a certain amount of grit that this movie just decided to replace with a slickness that didn't work.
The more I watch movies like this, the more I appreciate movies like Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, 1,000% agreed.
You mentioned Sleepaway Camp, and I'm like, oh my God, that movie's a fucking classic.
It is
100% compared to this one. Like, it's not, they're not even in the same realm.
And I guess it's kind of a interesting concept that they were trying to go for. They were trying to have a Valentine's movie that was centered around relationship issues and a stereotypical slasher movie, but neither one of them were well thought out enough to work on their own, let alone working together.
I do like the visual of the killer in the Cupid mask. I think that's pretty cool.
It's okay, but it's wearing its Michael Myers influences a little too broadly on its overcoat sleeve.
Yeah, but one time the Cupid killer killed somebody with arrows.
Okay, I did catch that, and I remember thinking, okay, that's kind of clever,
right? The nose bleeding thing was stolen completely from the movie Alone in the Dark, apparently. Jamie Blanks, the director, said that he stole that because, I don't know, he thought it was cool. Because every time the Cupid killer kills somebody, his nose bleeds. And that's exactly what happened at the school dance when he was confronted with any sort of conflict. His nose bled. So that's kind of how you know it's the same guy. And that kind of pays off at the very end of the movie. In a twist that everybody saw coming, by the way.
Yeah. And I don't know, I suppose it was kind of interesting that the first, 10 minutes or so, you're following this one girl who just finished up one of the worst on-screen dates I have ever seen in a movie, where she's out with this guy who insists on talking about himself in third person and how he would make a great father in terms of genetics for her.
Yeah.
Insists on going Dutch. Yeah. And then she happens to go back to work studying cadavers at the morgue.
Yeah. This girl, by the way, is Katherine Heigl in one of her first film roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They set her up to be the main character, and I thought it was kind of interesting that they killed her off right away. Not terribly original because, again, this is coming out a couple years after Scream, which came out several decades after Psycho, so it's not original. But you know what? It kind of suckered me in, so I'll give them credit for that. God, I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as compliments to give this movie.
I feel like that beginning portion of the movie with Katherine Heigl is maybe the best part of the movie because it has a sort of tension to it that the rest of the movie lacks. And Katherine Heigl is, outside of Denise Richards, the best actor in this movie among the female cast. Like the main character of Kate, she's played by Marley Shelton, who everyone's seen this movie. She was the beautiful Wendy Peppercorn from the movie The Sandlot.
Never seen it.
You've never seen The Sandlot?
Never seen The Sandlot.
Oh, we're doing that then because you need to see The Sandlot. That's a fucking classic, sir. Anyways, she delivers every single line in the same emotion and kind of monotone, sweet, kind of, oh, I'm the innocent girl sort of way. And it just does not play at all.
Honestly, I don't know if I would point the finger at any of the actors because they all give a uniformly bad, flat performance. So I'm kind of wondering if that isn't the fault of the director who wasn't able to get good performances out of his cast.
The director of this movie also directed Urban Legends, the very first one. And I saw that.
And it shows.
Oh, I actually like that one. I saw.
To me, it was just again another version, example of movies of that era that were just dreck.
That might be true.
There were very few good horror movies in that decade, I feel.
I mean, spoiler alert, I was super drunk when I saw Urban Legends, so
that would have helped me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So when I got really defensive right now, I didn't mean it as an attack against your personal character. I just thought it was really great. And it might have been the booze speaking. Who can tell?
I feel like I should have had a couple of beers while watching this movie. It may have helped my enjoyment.
The thing about this movie that really gets me is the tone is all over the fucking place.
Well, yeah. It's like I said, it's trying to be two different movies, but neither one of the movies were thought out.
It features so many scenes with these girls that are like, oh my God, can you imagine dating? Dating is the worst. Dating is the pits. And literally every guy they go on a date with is the absolute weirdest, buffoonish man you've ever seen. And it's played off as a hilarious romantic comedy. Like there's this big speed at the beginning of the movie. There's a speed dating scene, and it's just played for laughs for no reason. Like,
or even the Jesus freak looks like a male model.
Yeah, yeah. But they're all flawed, and these girls can't be bothered. And oh my God, eye rolls. These guys, we're single hot girls in our 20s, and we can't find any worthy man. Oh my God. And that's like a good chunk of the movie. Is these girls going out and dating people or putting themselves in situations to try to date people.
Mm-hmm. And then it's just randomly interrupted where the Cupid face killer kills a random person. I wanted to walk into this movie. I was looking to enjoy it just because I still love slasher movies.
Yeah.
But this was... I can't imagine ever watching this movie again.
I actually watched it twice this week.
Really?
Yeah, well, I'm devoted to the show. Sue me.
Good for you, sir. I applaud your dedication and your effort.
I watched it tonight with my girlfriend Pookie, whom I adore, and she said, that was her review. I mean, it was better than I remembered, but I'm not sure I liked it a whole lot. So that was her review. And I kind of agree with that. It was definitely better than I remembered, but I don't know that it stands up to the test of time. Like, I'm not sure I ever have a pressing urge to ever watch it again.
It's definitely of its time. It's just instantly forgettable. And I could not engage with this movie no matter how hard I tried. I had to rewind it a couple of times just so that I could get a grip of what was going on. And I felt like an idiot because normally I have a pretty decent attention span. I can watch something as simple as a horror movie and keep up with the plot. I couldn't with this for some reason.
Interesting. Things I
I
noticed.
just could not get into this movie at all.
Things I noticed tonight. One, David Boreanaz has always looked like he's 45 years old,
Yes.
which serves him well now that he's probably over 45 years of age. But back then, when he was trying to play a 20-something, I don't know.
Be awesome if he looked like he was 19 right now.
Yes, it would. He's a real Benjamin Button, that Boreanaz.
Yes.
Were you a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan?
You know what? It seems like everybody I knew back in 2000, 2001 was obsessed with that show. I just never got into it. I watched like half of the first season, and that was about it.
Oh, I loved it. I worshipped that show, which is sort of topical because Joss Whedon is a piece of shit. So how about that?
That's a disappointment.
That's a huge disappointment to me as well.
I actually saw those two hanging out with each other at a Comic-Con in Chicago back in 2002.
Who?
David Boreanaz wasn't even on the guest list. He was just hanging out at Joss Whedon's booth.
You heard it here first, folks. David Boreanaz is also a piece of shit. Tomko said it.
Close Encounters of the Co-Kind.
Yeah, right? But he was the big heartthrob on the Buffy series, and all the girls were like, oh my God. And then he got his own series called Angel because he was the vampire with a soul. I don't remember many other movies he was in other than this one, quite honestly.
From what I understand, he does a lot of work behind the scenes as far as directing and producing television shows these days.
Okay. I mean, he was on Bones for like 35 years, and he's on some show now about like Navy SEALs or something. I mean, he's still working. Good for him.
Exactly.
Which is more than you can say for anybody else in this cast.
And really, I mean, people forget, but for like 2 minutes after Wild Things, Denise Richards was a pretty big deal.
Oh, Denise Richards was like, oh, this is the other thing my girlfriend Pookie, whom I adore, this is one of her observations. She goes, you know, Denise Richards was kind of like the Megan Fox of that era. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Spot on.
Yeah, that is a very astute observation by Pookie, whom you adore.
Absolutely. I can't argue that whatsoever. Yeah, she had, I mean, we've covered Denise Richards before on this program on the amazingly awesome episode, Tammy and the T-Rex, which is probably the best Denise Richards performance there ever was.
I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah. Number 2 is probably Wild Things because, let's face it, if you were...
You know why.
You saw those Wild Things. You rewound that videotape over and over again because I did too. So it's cool.
Now, that actually kind of makes me wonder if Denise Richards was the Megan Fox of her era. Who is the Megan Fox of this current era?
You know what? That's immediately what I tried to think of. I'm like, who is the Megan Fox of this era? And I was really drawing a blank because I saw David Boreanaz's big poofy hair on screen and I got distracted.
I was going to say, you get lost in that man's eyes.
Yeah. What a dreamy 45-year-old. I don't know because movies are kind of made differently these days. There's not like... Sex doesn't sell anymore.
Oh, tell that to the Kardashians, sir.
Well, I mean in movies anyways. Like, when's the last time you saw a sex scene or boobs or anything in a like any sort of movie that's not rated X?
Oh, damn.
I know. It's not.
This is where I need Jake because he has like, you know, a Rain Man level of attention for that.
Right. I can't think of... Yeah, I couldn't think of anybody who's like the up-and-coming sex symbol, really.
Yeah, I'm going to have to scratch my head on that one. I'll have to get back with you on that one.
You're allowed to. Dear listener, if you have an idea...
Yes, listeners, we need your input on this.
Yeah, if you have an idea who the current or future sex symbol in the history of cinema would be, please let us know because we are both drawing blanks. I can't think of a single person that would fit that criteria the way that Megan Fox and Denise Richards used to.
So what else do we want to say about Valentine other than our unending scorn.
Basic facts. The character Dorothy was played by Jessica Capshaw, who was Steven Spielberg's stepdaughter.
Really?
Yeah. You think a good old stepdad Steve would, I don't know, cast her in a movie.
Maybe there's a reason for this.
Maybe so. Oh, Jessica, I don't want to show any nepotism. You'll have to earn that. Really, stepdad? You're really being a stepdad right now. Other facts. David Boreanaz really wanted to play the killer beneath the Cupid mask, but he didn't because of it. He had limited availability based on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was only on set for 10 days, which is pretty impressive. I mean,
I was just actually thinking about that. Yeah. For a 10-day shoot, he did pretty decently.
I would think so. He's one of the stronger actors in this movie. And he probably made a decent payday for only 10 days of work. That's the American dream. Thank you, sir. You inspire us all. The identity of the killer was reportedly up in the air during pre-production, but it was kind of finalized when Variety, that esteemed Hollywood mag, reported that David Boreanaz had joined the cast of Valentine as the villain. So the studio goes, oh, fuck. I guess he's the villain then. Which is a backwards way of thinking, in my opinion, but who am I?
That is a great way to write a script, folks.
Yes. The soundtrack of this movie is very new metal in early 2000s. It features Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, Static X, Disturbed, and the Deftones. I mean, if you expect to see any of those folks in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame anytime soon, smoke another marijuana cigarette, because not a good era of music.
No.
However, those bands were frequently... maybe that added to the overall mediocrity of this era of slasher movie, because from 1994 to 2010, whenever there was a slasher movie, all these shitty new metal, alternative, death metal, super metal, metal bands were always on the soundtrack. And occasionally I was a sucker for that soundtrack, but overall, in hindsight, not so good.
Honestly, and it wasn't even of that era. The only soundtrack that was similar to that actually worked was the soundtrack for The Crow.
Oh, that's a good one. Gretchen Berg and Aaron Harbert, who helped write this film, went on to become showrunners on Star Trek Discovery. And currently they write and executive produce the current hit program for NBC, Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
I've never heard of that, but no? I'm very proud of them.
It's very charming. Me and Pookie started watching that show when we got together. And that's how I named my cat, based on that show. My cat's name is Zoe because of that show. So thank you, Valentine, for allowing me to name my cat. I guess that's the moral of the story.
At least something good came out of this movie.
Something had to, you know? It's the butterfly effect. Something good had to have happened.
Yes.
There was a tornado of shit at one point, but in the end, it all settled down. And my cat was named Zoe, so all was right in the world. Tomko, overall in the echelon of slasher movies, where would you rank this?
This is probably worse than anything that came out of the 80s because there's no campy fun. There's no charm. It's just a slickly produced, look good on the surface, cheap movie that deserves to be forgotten. And I think by and large, it largely has been.
Who would win in a fight, Angela from Sleepaway Camp or Cupid?
Oh, Angela.
Excellent.
Because let's face it, I mean, Angela doesn't look like she's as dangerous as she actually is.
That's a good point.
Whereas somebody who's, hulking over you with an overcoat and a Cupid mask, they're up to no good.
Yeah. The more I think about those sleepaway camp movies, the more I like them.
Except for that last one. That last one was
Well,
awful.
nothing will ever redeem that. That's the worst movie I've ever seen, and I stand by that. I should also release that episode very soon because I still haven't, but it's there, so it should be released because it's a good
I was going to say, we had to suffer through that movie.
Yeah, that Return to Sleepaway Camp, folks, is the worst movie you'll ever see, so don't try. Even if you think you're a fan of horror, still don't try. The best part of that movie is the last 3 minutes, so go ahead, fast forward, you're welcome.
Yeah, and that's not really saying a whole lot because it was pretty obvious from the get-go what was happening.
So this seems like a movie that will never be rebooted or... Well, it might be... I can see a time where there's a movie called Valentine and there's a Cupid killer. I shouldn't, say that.
And you know what? I would be on board the idea of them trying this because it is an interesting concept. Mixing a romantic comedy about the struggles of young dating people with a slasher movie. Mm-hmm. If they had a decent script, if they had, competent actors, or at least actors who were giving a shit, there's potential there. Mm-hmm. And it was all squandered in this movie.
If the movie came out in the last 5 years, arguably in the greatest era of online dating, I could see it
that would have been amazing.
Yeah, I could see it doing really well. Like, in the era of all these apps and whatever, a killer dressed as Cupid going around and, I don't know, taking out people that are meeting blind dates or people they barely know off the internet. That could have went over really well. I mean, I guess it still could. This era of cinema is still dying for the next great slasher craze. And it's coming. It's got to be.
I was going to say, it all goes in cycles.
Yep. 100%.
Once you just got to get to the other end of the bell curve, it'll come back.
I think we've said all we're going to say about this movie, don't you?
Yeah. Randy, where can people find you online?
You can find me at mretailslave on that twitter.com or Miserable Retail Slave on that facebook.com. So join our group, for crying out loud. You can also join our Facebook page, Someone's Favorite Movie, on that facebook.com, or follow the Someone's Favorite Movie Twitter account at favepodcast.com, or favepodcast, that's all it is. There's no .com. I'm stupid. Whatever. Mr. Tomko, where can people find you?
I am the co-host of a charming little show called Jake and Tom Conquer the World. We don't conquer anything, but damn it, we have fun trying. If you like to listen to a couple of drunk dorks talk about movies, games, comic books, or whatever else pops in their head that week, give us a shot. You can find us on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Stitcher, or hell, anywhere else you can find a podcast. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me on Twitter at The Drunken Dork and on Facebook at Jake and Tom Conquer the Group.
Excellent. This is coming out first, but stay tuned, dear listener, because our interview with the immortal Dr. Wolfula of YouTube fame will be coming out. It was a great conversation. Wouldn't you agree?
It really, really was.
It was a good time. I feel like I dare say you're going to see another side of Dr. Wolfula you've never seen before if you're a fan. It was a great conversation. It's our first time doing an interview on this show, and it was a lot of fun. So
I was going to say, if we had to, I don't think we could have picked a better guest as our first interview. I really don't think we could have.
No, it was perfect. So that episode is coming out soon. In the meantime, if you want to get hyped for that, Dr. Wolfula is on YouTube. Just search Dr. Wolfula. He's got so many subscribers. He also covers this movie, Valentine. So listen to this podcast and listen to his thoughts because he's very insightful.
Yeah, I can't recommend his YouTube channel highly enough. It's something that you can easily fall down several rabbit holes with, and every one of his videos. They're insightful. The guy really knows his stuff when it comes to movies, and he's entertaining as all fuck.
Yep. If you enjoy this podcast, you'll enjoy the ever-living hell out of that YouTube channel, so give it a shot. Thank you.
Yes.
In the meantime, next time, other than our interview with Dr. Wolfula, we're going to be covering a movie I told you last week we were going to do, and I even said last year around this time we were going to do it, and we never did. But it's going to be Unmasked Part 25. Timeco, I hope you're ready, because somebody's got to be ready, right?
I'm looking forward to it, sir.
Excellent. In the future, we're going to be covering a movie that's been on my list from the very fucking beginning of me putting this show together. It's a movie called Pump Up the Volume.
I love that movie.
Do you
love
really?
that movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. We're going to be covering that. We're also going to be covering... I mean, initially I wasn't going to do this, but I'm like, what the fuck? Why not? We're going to be covering Godzilla versus King Kong, Tomko. Have you ever seen the original?
Yes. I've never... I think I saw it when I was like 5.
Oh, there's no perfect time than
time
now.
to watch it again.
Yep. So that's coming up very shortly. Unmasked Part 25, Pump Up the Volume, which, oh my God, that movie. I can't wait to talk about that. And King Kong versus Godzilla, it's all coming. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.